La polizia di Kucha non ebbe difficoltà con i pochi serbi che vivevano a Lubiana e che vennero a dimostrare.
Evviva la Jugoslavia! Abbasso i traditori di tutti i colori e di tutte le repubbliche. Avanti, dentro. Senza la bandiera non entro.
Milosevic dovrà inventare qualcos'altro per sconfiggere gli sloveni. Il mezzo scelto era la Lega dei Comunisti della Jugoslavia. Fece convocare un congresso straordinario.
Following the death of Yugoslavia's longtime leader, Tito, in 1980, right-wing émigré organizations took out an advertisement on the opinion page of the New York Times, stating that Yugoslavia would not survive, and offering a map which included all of Bosnia as part of Croatia. It was a map nearly identical to the Nazi-created independent state of Croatia. Simon Wiesenthal, who tracked Ustashi fugitives for decades, along with other Nazi war criminals, told an interviewer,
"I must admit I am obsessed by the criminal character of the independent state of Croatia. Even the Germans were appalled by the crimes committed in it."
How many men, women, and children died there? Hitler's special envoy to the Balkans, Hermann Neubacher, wrote, "Leaders of the Ustashi boast that they have slaughtered 1 million Orthodox Serbs. On the basis of official German reports, I estimate the number to be 750,000. Most of these Serbian civilians perished in the notorious Croatian death camp Jasenovac, which straddled the Sava River between Croatia and Bosnia.
The German Secret Service was enormously active in Croatia and in all of Yugoslavia, trying in the 80s to build bridges between what were called the national communists, Stipe Mesic, Franjo Tudjman, in Yugoslavia, and the Ustasha revanchist organizations which lived in the diaspora of Croatia, that is to say, all of the people of weight and influence who had fled the former Nazi puppet state in 1945.
Tudjman often embarrassed his most important supporters, such as German Chancellor Helmut Kohl. For instance, Tudjman had written a book minimizing the crimes of the Ustashi and claiming that the Holocaust was greatly exaggerated. "Thank God my wife is neither a Serb nor a Jew," he told one interviewer. For the national flag, Tudjman chose a replica of the checkerboard emblem that flew over the Croatian death camps of World War II, where Serbs, Jews, and Gypsies were exterminated. Tudjman's anti-Semitic views were covered beneath rhetoric acceptable to the West. With the help of Reuter and Finn, a high-powered American public relations firm, the New York Times found space for General Tudjman's new and misleading image on its opinion page. The German public had already been prepared by the repeated attacks on the Serbs in an influential German newspaper in Frankfurt. The strident commentary of Johann Georg Reismüller, which favored Croatia and reviled the Serbs, any Serbs, all Serbs, reminded Peter Handke of the way Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels once characterized the Jewish race.
It was the German press, in the form par excellence of the right-wing Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, and its journalists that fundamentally influenced German policy.
While some French intellectuals were hailing Croatia as part of the new Europe, old and familiar forces were at work. Osijek became a magnet for neo-fascist groups fighting with Glavaš. They included British skinheads, German and Austrian neo-fascists, and followers of the French extremist Jean-Marie Le Pen.
C'est comme ça que l'on bâtit l'Europe nationaliste.
Et vous y allez directement après, demain?
Oui, demain nous partons pour Zagreb pour prendre des ordres à l'état-major, mais pas de l'armée croate régulière. Nous allons avec la force de défense croate qui dépend du parti du droit croate, et donc nous partirons quelque part sur le front en Slavonie, je suppose.
German support for Croatian separatists received an unusual tribute, a musical thank you on Croatian state television.
Danke Deutschland, meine Seele brennt. Danke Deutschland für das Liebesgeschenk.
Serbian television broadcast Croatia's musical thank you, interspersed with World War II footage of cheering Croatian crowds in Zagreb welcoming Hitler's troops.
Vielen Dank, wir sind jetzt nicht allein.
The Bosnian Serbs, Croats, and Muslims all signed the pact known as the Lisbon Agreement on March 18, 1992. This set up a central government of Bosnia-Herzegovina and 3 ethnic cantons on the model of Switzerland. 2 days after signing it, following a meeting with American Ambassador Warren Zimmerman, Izetbegovic changed his mind and disavowed his signature.
Izetbegovic turned around and reneged, as he's reneged on other things.
Zimmerman later acknowledged to David Binder of the New York Times that Izetbegovic had reluctantly signed the agreement to gain European recognition. More than a year after the bloodshed began in Bosnia, Zimmerman also admitted that the Lisbon Plan was not bad at all, but recalls telling Izetbegovic, "If you don't like it, why sign it?" With no agreement amongst the Muslims, Serbs, and Croats, and with all sides mobilized for war, the European community voted, as the U.S. insisted, to recognize Bosnia on April 6th, along with Slovenia and Croatia. This act, Roger Cohen of the New York Times later wrote, was as close to criminal negligence as a diplomatic act can be. Indeed, international recognition and the outbreak of the Bosnian War were simultaneous.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Milosevic.
Da li je nesporno, Lorde Ovene, da su jedino u Jugoslaviji svi njeni narodi ostvarivali to da ne budu podeljeni, iscepkani u okvirima više država i da žive u istoj državi. Dakle, svi Srbi, svi Hrvati, svi muslimani. I da je život u tom nepodeljenom jugoslovenskom prostoru predstavljao niz prednosti i pogodnosti za građane koji na tom prostoru žive. I na svakom drugom planu. Ostalom, zašto su se države udružili u Europsku uniju? To je valjda bilo nesporno.
No, I think it would have been easier if former Yugoslavia had not dissolved.
Poznato vam je, pretpostavljam, da je niz država, međunarodnih organizacija, kao i niz značajnih ličnosti podržao integritet Jugoslavije i založio se na početku jugoslovenske krize za očuvanje njenog jedinstva, je li tako?
Yes, that was the position of the United States under President Bush Sr. and also under Secretary of State James Baker, and that was also the position of the European community. So the 3 people most involved in the peace process at that time all opposed the European Union, European community's decision to recognize, believing that apart from the merits of the Slovenian and the Croatian question, is that it would be inevitable that they would move on quickly to what they considered to be a premature recognition of Bosnia-Herzegovina, and that is exactly what happened. And I believe it was a very serious mistake.
Tragična, rekao bih, Lorde Ovene. Pretpostavljam da se i vi s tim slažete. Da li se sećate, o tome je pisao i Mon Diplomatik, da je kancelar Kohl na samitu Evropske zajednice u Briselu 29. i 30. juna 1991. godine to 4 dana pošto su Slovenija i Hrvatska proglasili secesiju, iako to nije bilo na dnevnom redu, zatražio momentalno priznanje ovih republika.
I'm certainly aware that that was his view, but the exact words I don't know.
A da li vam je poznato šta se dešavalo 16. decembra 1991. na samitu Evropske zajednice, gdje je Genscher izjavio...
Just a moment. There's no point really asking the witness about matters that he can't deal with. Now, you've had your quarter of an hour. You can ask a few more questions, providing they're relevant and they're matters which Lord Owen can answer. Mere propaganda on your side isn't going to help us.
Se ne bavim nikakvom propagandom, već pokušavam da samo govorim o činjenicama.
Können Sie sich bitte mal vorstellen?
Mein Name ist Thomas Deichmann, ich lebe in Frankfurt am Main, bin freier Journalist, Buchautor und Chefredakteur von dem Magazin Novo. Das ist das berühmte Bild. Penny Marshall schüttelt die Hand von Fikret Alic über den Stacheldraht hinweg. Und das sind die 3 Sequenzen. Sie betritt das Grundstück, was mit Stacheldraht umzäunt war. Sie nähert sich jetzt dem Ende des Grundstücks, dieses alten Bauhofs mit den ganzen Schubkarren. Und das ist das berühmte Bild, was durch die Welt gegangen ist. Was den Eindruck erweckt hat, dass hier Männer hinter Stacheldraht gefangen sind und natürlich auch die Assoziation zu einem nazi-ähnlichen Konzentrationslager geweckt hat.
Journalistic standards and use of second-hand witnesses was questioned in a well-documented investigative article by journalist Thomas Deichmann in the German publication Die Woche. Much of Gutmann's information came from Jadranka Cigelj, a Croatian woman from Prijedor. Cigelj was an official of a German-based front group for a variety of neo-fascist organizations, including the German Nationalist Party and the present political arm of the old World War II Ustashi.
Meine Zweifel sind gekommen, eigentlich über einen Zufall, ein Detail eigentlich, was mir sehr viel dann nochmal meine Skepsis geweckt hat, wo mich meine Frau auch dann, als wir gemeinsam einmal eine Sequenz über Trnopolje betrachtet haben, darauf hingewiesen hat. Wenn man sich das eine Bild genau anschaut, sieht man, dass der Stacheldraht an dem großen Metallpfosten an der Seite angebracht ist, wo die bosnischen Muslime stehen. Und ich bin selbst Bauingenieur, habe auch auf dem Bau gearbeitet früher in meiner Studienzeit und habe auch schon Zäune gebaut. Und ich weiß, dass man einen Zaun immer von außen anbringt. Man würde nie einen Zaun von innen anbringen. Das heißt, da hat mich meine Frau darauf hingewiesen, als ich das gesehen habe, dass der Stacheldraht auf der Seite von den bosnischen Muslimen war. Da hat bei mir wirklich das eine unheimliche Überraschung ausgelöst und dann auch die Gewissheit, dass tatsächlich hier was faul sein muss. Und daraufhin habe ich mich entschlossen, dann auch nach Bosnien direkt runterzufahren, nach Trnopolje. Und in dem Zusammenhang bin ich auch an die ITN Rushes gekommen, das heißt das unbearbeitete Filmmaterial. Ja, und das habe ich dann irgendwann angefangen, sehr systematisch zu studieren. Ja, man sieht zum einen sehr deutlich den Charakter des Lagers Trnopolje. Also man sieht ganz klar, dass es hier ein Lager war, wo Flüchtlinge hingekommen sind, die sich da Schutz gesucht haben. Und vor allem sieht man natürlich auch, dass das Lager nicht eingezäunt war, dass es nirgends um das Lager herum einen Zaun gab. Also hier sieht man im Hintergrund ein Auto die Straße runterfahren, das heißt, auch da war nicht eingezäunt, sieht man. Und das ist jetzt von praktisch da, wo die ausgestiegen sind, auf dieses Bauhofgrundstück drauf gefilmt. Und hier sieht man, wie der Kameramann jetzt das Motiv des Zauns entdeckt und da ein bisschen mitspielt. Und in einem Moment hört man, wenn man genau hinhört, den Kameramann sagen, the thin on the left. Und dann wird er nach vorne gebeten und deshalb lächelt er auch. Das war für mich auch eine Frage, warum lächelt die Person? Als ich das Original gesehen habe im Fernsehen, wurde ein bisschen nach vorne geschoben natürlich. So. Also die waren sich ganz klar, das ist das Bild, was die Welt in Aufregung versetzen wird.
It was absolutely false, and it was very, very misleading. It was it's a shame that afterwards, once Thomas Deichmann discovered that the photograph was faked, that people who told that story were then punished. That magazine in the UK was shut down with a libel suit.
Bloody Serbian reprisals in Srebrenica made international headlines in 1995, but for the first 3 years of the war, Srebrenica was the stronghold of Muslim warlord Nasser Oric, who drove out the Serbian population and carried out scores of massacres against surrounding villages, including the killing of 500 Serbian civilians on Orthodox Christmas Eve in 1993.
Barbarskim napadima na civilne objekte i infrastrukturu srpskog naroda Zapadna vojna alijansa pokazala je krajnje neljudske i nehumane postupke nezabeležene u novijoj istoriji.
Evo nas na mjestu gdje je, možemo slobodno reći, nekada bila kuća domaćina Goranović Aleksije. Noćas, nakon noćešnjeg napada, tačno u 2 časa i 5 minuta, u ovoj kući koja je zbrisana sa lica zemlje, smrtno su stradali domaćin Goranović Aleksa i njegov sin Goranović Zdravko. Ovo je slika i prilika jednog užasnog zločina kome je svaki komentar suvišan. Više civila, među kojima i 15 mjeseci star dečak Goranović Nebojša, je teže i lakše povređeno u ovom zločinačkom napadu NATO avijacije. Potpuno je porušeno više kuća, deo ih je teško stradao, a gotovo celo selo je ostalo bez krovova i prozorskih stakala. Mesto zločina, selo Radnja, daleko od prvih borbenih linija, a pogotovo od bilo kakvih strateških vojnih objekata.
Zanimljivo je da se humanitarne organizacije ne oglašavaju, iako se ruše civilni ciljevi, istorijski i kulturni spomenici, ali zato stižu nove pretnje, dok Hrvatsko-muslimanska koalicija koristi priliku i žestoko udara po svim srpskim odbrambenim linijama, gađajući pritom i civilne ciljeve. Lista NATO zločina se nastavlja. Avionske bombe izručuju na šire područje Teslića, Gradiške, Banja Luke, Prijedora. Svetske agencije prvi put objavljuju informacije o civilnim žrtvama.
Avioni NATO pakta danas su uništili ili oštetili više stambenih objekata u selima Livče, Polje i Potkozarje. Već oko 5 časova stanovnike Gradiške opštine probudile su jake eksplozije. Čule su se iz više pravaca. 2 puta je označavana vazdušna opasnost, a Gradišćani se uglavnom nalaze u skloništima.
Čula se strašna detonacija i u prvom momentu nismo znali šta je, o čemu se radi. Mislili smo da je granata ili da je